Coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Quinn Spinn. Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, The Quinn. I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. And you just heard Revel 9's All I've Become. That's been our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days. And you'll notice, new set, who dis? We are here in the event space at Helping Our Music Evolve, because I did this for On the Guest List a few weeks ago, and they had Patrick Carney from the Black Keys, and I'm like, why am I not doing this for my own show? So we're here on the stage under the bright lights, and I am joined by two very special guests. I'm joined on my left, your right, by Bronnie, and on my right, your left, by Mason Levi, and they have collaborated here on some projects. They're both here in Nashville doing some work together, and I'm very excited for this one. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
What an intro, by the way. That was insane. All in one breath.
I mean, you do it for 9 years, and you better have that cadence down. You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, very good intro. Loving that. Yeah. So stoked to be on this show, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm very, very excited to be here.
Yeah.
Excited to have you both. Thanks so much for joining us. And so I ask every guest of the show 3 standard questions. Whoever wants to go first, answer these however you would like. Those 3 questions are: who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn?
Loving it. So I'm Bronnie. So I'm an artist from the UK, from Liverpool. And my passions in life, I obviously love songwriting, but having, a big positive mental attitude, I guess. The songs I write, I just kind of want to have just good vibes all around with my music. So that is kind of what I'm very passionate about. Obviously, staying in touch with my fans, keeping them close to the music and all that, and just life in general. Yeah. How about you, Mason?
Oh, yeah. My passions, definitely music. And I've loved music ever since I was a little kid, and I don't think I've ever wanted to do anything else with my life. Another big one is sharing my dreams and drive with other people and hanging out and just doing things I love with people I love. I think that's a really big one. Okay, what was question 2 again?
Question 2, or what are your passions? So you got that.
Okay, beautiful.
Question 3 was, why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn?
So I think I want to come on the Quinn Spinn to share a little bit of information about what Bronnie and I have been up to, talk about music and, show what we're about.
Yeah, you basically said it for me. Yeah, for sure. Just talking about music, getting to know you. You getting to know us?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to get to know each other. We're here for the audience to get to know us.
English girl in Nashville on the Quinn Spinn, I'm ready.
Well, welcome. Thanks so much again for being here. And of course, yes, we do want to get to know each other. And so let's go from the beginning, shall we? So I want to know about y'all's formative experiences, not only in music, but what led you to a creative path? What made you so passionate about what you do and led you on this road to now where you're literally on the road here together in Nashville?
Yeah, so really Bronnie and I started in a similar way. We both did musical theater as kids. Weirdly enough, we always talk about how strange it is we both did The Wiz in high school the same year.
Yeah. Because I think we were the same school year we would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the same time. So
so that kind of really drove me to love being on stage. But I fell in love with music at a really young age because I would always drive around in the car with my parents and listen to the music they loved. So like 80s rock. And I grew my hair out past my belly button and learned how to play drums when I was about 6 years old. And I took that drive and started band after band in school. And eventually one of the bands that I was in did very well, called a Summer High. And I was able to travel the US a bunch. I was able to go to the UK, and it led me on a path to meet Bronnie. So you can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So growing up, like Mason was saying, I was a big musical theatre kid, and we only did the American musicals, so that's why I sing with an American accent. Everyone's like, "You're English, you're so English," and you sing with an American accent. So from a young age, it was just drilled into me, sing with an American accent. I love musicals. And growing up, I didn't know the genre pop punk existed. So I was obsessed with songs like Teenage Dirtbag, you know, obviously Avril Lavigne. So I used to Google songs that sound like Avril Lavigne, and then it got me into, you know, All American Rejects, Blink-182. So that it was kind of just a natural path. You know, I'm the eldest of 5, so I didn't have any older siblings getting me into pop punk or rock music or anything like this. My mum was obsessed with boy bands, like every mum, you know, in the 80s. And my dad was really into rockabilly, so he loves, you know, rock music as well, actually. So he did get me into a couple of bands. So I started out doing that. And when I was 16, I just totally fell in love with the songwriting, music. You know, when you're at that age where you kind of like, right, I've got to, you know, knuckle down, kind of choose the career path. I cannot dance. Got 2 left feet, you know, not literally, but yeah, I do dance like a dad on the dance floor. So I was like,
makes more than one of us here.
We're twins, loving it. And yeah, so I was like, right, I don't think musical theatre's my calling. And just one night I just randomly wrote a song. It was actually a really weird story. I always say this to people. So I was dreaming, and in my dream I had this melody, and I woke up with the melody in my head and just started to write a song, and it was called Stay. And that was one of my first songs that I ever wrote. Just totally fell in love with songwriting, and then now I'm here.
And now we're
in
all
Nashville.
here.
Sorry, I can chat for days, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
The butterfly effect of all the things that have happened that have led us to this very moment in time. Right?
From a dream.
Yeah.
From a dream.
It is crazy too, because the way Bronnie and I met came about in such a strange way. And otherwise we would have never been here doing this. We met online, I guess, technically, because one of my band members sent you a music video. And then we were playing Warped Tour in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And I met Bronnie for the first time there. We decided she could come over to the US and tour with my band, and then we would go over to the UK and tour with her. And we did that, and then we toured Europe as well. Came back home, COVID happened, and my old band basically split. We all decided to do separate things. And I started working on solo music, so I messaged Bron, and I ended up flying over to the UK, opened for her headline tour, the Love Letters and Hate Mail tour, which was really cool. And I stayed and started playing bass for her band as well. So I had been in the UK for the last 6 months, and then we decided we were going to collaborate on a song and come to the US. So really why we're here on the stage in Nashville in this very moment is because we're here promoting Death Wish. So
Yeah.
came to that.
Which we're going to get into Death Wish. Of course, very excited about that. Excited about the music video as well. And this episode actually premieres the same day of the release.
Loving it.
So
yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was all meant to be here. Serendipity's journey that led us all here.
Yes.
So I do want to talk about pop punk because y'all seem to be getting hot at the right time. Pop punk has been making a resurgence over the past couple of years, you know, in the mainstream, new acts coming to the forefront, and the acts that were previously established gaining renewed relevance. So, and that's here in the US. I'm curious to know what it's like over there in the UK and how that scene is and kind of the similarities, the differences between the two.
Yeah, so I believe that everything comes around in circles. Like 10 years, you know, pop punk was massive early noughties, you know, even late 90s in the UK.
Here too, yep.
And it kind of came back again like 2013, 2014, and now it's kind of back again, you know, nearly 10 years later. And I think, you know, you do get new acts like Machine Gun Kelly, you know, blowing up pop punk again. Travis Barker is working with so many bands from different genres and
like the
artists.
godfather of
He
it.
is.
Yeah, like-
I know. It's insane. So he's kind of dipping into loads of different genres. So all those fans who don't really know pop punk, they're now listening to pop punk. It's a new wave. I think it's just really good for the scene and for artists. I mean, I've been releasing music since 2015. So I've always, you know, been into pop punk just like you. And because I started doing YouTube covers. That's how I started to gain a fan base. Yeah. No promoters were really putting me on shows because I didn't have a fan base. And yeah, they were kind of like, well, you know, we're just going to get some like dudes in a band to open up. You know, I was kind of, yeah, for a woman in, you know, in music, it was very hard to start out. And so I just kept doing YouTube covers, but I do pop punk versions of pop songs. And that's kind of how I got a fan base. And then promoters were like, okay, you've kind of got fans, yeah. And then they put me on first because they were like, yeah, we don't think that, you're a girl, so people are going to get more excited when they see guys on stage.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, instead of crying about it, I was like, okay, fuck you, I'm going to do my thing. Kept going, built this social media following, all through people liking pop punk covers, and those fans have stuck around for ages. And I think the pop punk scene is really close, especially when I chat to fans or even friends in bands. Everyone used to love pop punk. That's what we all grew up on, Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Blink. So yeah, it's kind of a really good thing to, I guess, everyone has something in common with pop punk, I guess.
And I think it came at a perfect time, this resurgence, because pop punk especially needed something refreshing brought to the table. And I think once that happened and new genres were coming in and shaping what the sound is, it enabled pop punk to really become what it always should have been, and that is arena or stadium shows, because it's so good and it's so entertaining to go to a pop punk show or a punk show or a rock show, and it just feels nice to hear radio or guitar on the radio again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, like, about the 90s, about the early 2000s, there was so much variety in radio. And for the longest time here, through the 2010s, early this decade, like, everything sounded the same. And now you're starting to see that variation come back. Like, back in the 90s, you'd hear an Eve 6 song next to a Backstreet Boys song, next to a Britney Spears song, next to Third Eye Blind, like, next to DMX. Like, you'd have all this variety in pop radio, and then somewhere along the line it became very corporatized and it has to be this, it has to fit in this box. And I feel like people are tired of that, and I feel like because of folks like yourselves, folks just across the industry, they want to make the music they love, and there are more ways to get it out there than ever as independent artists, which you are independent artists as well, and you've had so much success remaining independent. So I want to dissect that a little bit and understand how you found the level of success you have with no major label support, with just pretty much going out there and just doing the legwork.
So I mean, I'm very close and with my fans, so I keep everyone updated. So I think that is really, really important. The artist-fan relationship is so important. And fans, just music lovers, they're not stupid. If you're writing about something you don't care about, they're gonna know. It's so obvious. You have to love what you're doing. Keep everyone updated and just do things like you only live once. I know it sounds so cheesy to say, but we weren't getting on European gigs because promoters were like, oh, you don't have any fans there. And I was like, no, I do. Like, all my social media fans, like, they will come to see, because obviously promoters want to put other acts on who have fans, to bring in new fan bases to other bands. And we weren't getting any gigs. So I just said, okay, Mark, my manager, called him up and I was like, right, let's do a European tour. I know there's fans there. I really want to see them, meet them. They've been fans forever. So we turned up to Amsterdam. We did a hangout. It was 50 people. Came back 2 months later, there was 200 people, and then a year later I sold out my very first Amsterdam show at Melkweg. So it's just having that relationship with the fans and traveling and just being as close to them, because they are the ones who can get you where you are before any major labels can. So I love them.
I want to add, I think Bronnie especially is a great example of, if you want something, go out and make it happen, because that is the only way to really make it in this industry. I know so many people that wait to get signed or think that's the only way, but in reality, that's not how this works. Everybody works every day so hard, and if you are successful, the amount of work behind the scenes that goes into it, sometimes unseen, but it's there, and I can promise you it is. And Bronnie works every single day, 24/7, to be where she's at now. And I feel like you don't accept that about yourself enough. You work so hard, and I've actually taken a lot of inspiration from that and feel like I've been working harder since I met you. So that's been really cool. And not saying my old band didn't work very hard, but it's that next level, It's the next level. Yeah, that's the thing. At some point, I agree with all that. Like, you have to jump off the ledge and try to fly. I call it the ledge.
Yeah.
Like, you know, most people here in Nashville, like who live here, who came here for music, like they have their hands in so many other things. And I'm not knocking anybody having other income sources and that kind of thing. Like we all need to pay the bills and eat and keep the lights on, right? But at some point, you've got to give up the day job. Yeah. If you really want to make it, if you really want to get to the level of success you dream about and tour and sell out arenas or your large clubs, like you have to be willing to just struggle through it. You have to. There's no way around it. And the longer you put it off, not only will it be harder to take that leap, but the less likely you're going to do it, because as we get older, we get more responsibilities, you know, kids and houses and bills and this, that, the other thing. Like, take that leap as soon as you can and find ways to make it work. Because if you don't, you're only gonna wonder what if.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, 100%. And it's all about just having drive. And people like, I know I always say, I hate being like the most creative person in the room or the most hardworking. Like I want to surround myself with people who are 10 times more creative, even more driven, I guess. I don't know. Because I think it makes you do better. And it's all about, I mean, the music industry, it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's 24/7.
Right.
And you just have to work so hard. And you have to want it as well.
You have to.
And there's no set lesson plan on how to become a musician. You know, it's not like, you go to university or college, as you guys would say, you know, become a doctor, you do this. So many different people make it at different times. You know, people have been going for 15 years and then they finally get signed, or, you know, people literally don't even write a song. They get all their songs written for them and they get a management team to blow them up. Everyone just has a different path.
Right.
And I just think it's all about being happy for others when they get their shot.
Yeah.
And knowing that your time will come if you put in the effort. And just loving music, you know.
Yeah.
Keeping the fans in touch.
Very true. Very, very true.
I think especially with the grassroots level, it's all about the fan base, really.
It is.
For sure.
Yeah, the number one most important thing is the fans, 100%. And if you don't have the supporters that are willing to stick their neck out for you and try to help you, you're not going to make the next step that you need to. And it's all about those little wins every single day. Like a little win goes a long way in this industry, because sometimes it's 2 steps forward but 3 steps back, but all of a sudden you're working hard enough, you're going to take 10 steps in one day, and you never know when that's going to come. So you can just never give up, and you just have to push.
Yeah.
And one more note on the fans, I think there's something to be said about having you have to relate to them as a human being. You know, like this age of just like the mysterious, like we're in the age of social media where everybody, you know, has access to everyone's lives at all time. You need to relate to them. You need to meet them where they are and be your real self. If you don't, like you said, they're going to see right through it, and they're not going to, like, it's just going to be a persona kind of thing, and it's not really going to stand out. Whereas if you actually stand for something and connect that with them, that's your audience. Your audience is the people you connect with, you know, and the people that really pick up what you're putting down. So, you know, I think like you need to find what that is for you. I don't think there's one piece of advice or one blueprint. Like you said, there are so many ways to quote unquote make it.
Yeah.
You've got to find the right one, the one that's true to you. Some, it might be entering the sync or the publishing world. It might be, you know, hiring the big team right off the bat. Some, it might be the grassroots, organic, let's build this community step by step, which you've done a fantastic job of.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, legend.
So I do also want to talk about the fact that you're here in the U.S. for the next couple months.
Yeah.
And of course, just got over here in Nashville, and you're here through most of August, yeah?
Yeah, so we, because we've done it before where, you know, we've been touring around the US, and we do a lot of fan, you know, hangouts, because, you know, if we're here, we may as well see some fans and catch up with people. But yes, we're going to be doing some acoustic shows, some radio interviews, podcasts. And my drummer, Chris, is flying over in 2 weeks. So we're going to do a load of full band shows. Got a headline show in Titusville, Pennsylvania. And yeah, we're just here for a good time, doing a lot of songwriting as well. Because, you know, we missed out on COVID. It's
How's it
insane.
feel to be back, like able to like go out and travel and hit the road and all that? Like, it's gotta
so good. Like, oh, just being, I mean, just literally, I said to Mason before I left to go to America, I was like, dude, I'm just so excited to walk into a gas station and hear an American accent, you know? Yeah, no, it's awesome. a slight change to UK, especially the weather. But
so
yeah,
hot. This has been the hottest summer so far.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And for me, I essentially like right when I was allowed to travel, the first day I was allowed to travel, I went to the UK. And I've been there almost the last 6 months. I came home for a short period of time, but I hadn't been able to travel the US like I was since 2019, really. Mm-hmm. And I was on the road 200 days a year with my old band. So I was going a little bit insane sitting at home. I'm not going to lie. I was living with my family for the first time since I graduated high school. And I ended up moving to Buffalo. No hate to my family. I love my family, but
Well, after school, you move back home and it's like, okay, like this is different. I'm an adult now. Like,
exactly.
I did that once upon a time too.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been really nice. It's been fun. And it feels really good to be here doing the promo for a new song. It's exciting. And with me doing solo stuff, I've worked with bands my entire life. And I started doing solo songs, and I love doing that. But it doesn't have that sense of community that working with somebody else does. So doing this promotion for a new release with Bronnie kind of brings back that old feeling of having a friend to do it with, and that's everything in life's better with a friend. So
like the single Death Wish, which comes out today as of release date.
Yeah.
So y'all collaborated on this. Tell us what we can expect. And there's also a music video with this.
Yes. So, I mean, for months, all our fans have been like, Bronnie Mason, you have to write a song together, because we're tour. Mason's also my bassist. So we were like, oh, let's just do it. So we sat down, wrote the song within an hour, fell in love with it, and we were like, okay, we have to release this. Because we were like, maybe let's write a load of collabs, and we'll kind of just pick 2 of the best 5 or whatever, and kind of see where we go. First song we wrote, and loved it. It's about it's basically, about a relationship being a death wish, basically. You never get on, but you're perfect for each other, and it's kind of like, oh well. And we shot a music video for it. So we hired out a cinema. It's very cool.
It is very
and
cool.
So I released a song called Scream a few months back, and we recreated the opening scene of the iconic horror movie Scream. So we had that on the screen whilst we were watching it. We have my band Chris and Pete are also in it as well. So
it was very
good
fun.
vibes.
And
Such a laugh.
For me, filming the music video was like a dream come true, because I'd always wanted to be able to just have a theater to myself, so being able to shoot in a theater was so much fun. The song it's the song of the summer, we keep saying it. It's upbeat, catchy, and I think it's a song a lot of people can relate to. I certainly can relate to it, and I hope when people listen, they like it.
It's just
really wish for
a good pop punk feel good jam. I think for summer. It's very summery. I can't wait to play it live.
I can't wait to listen to it with the windows down in the car.
Oh yes,
it's gonna be good.
So much fun.
Upbeat and youthful. That's the jam. That's what we want here this summer. So, looking toward the future now, you've already had so much success. I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but you've, Bronnie, in particular, had a chance to chart #1 over in the UK on iTunes, on the rock charts, and all over Europe, the US. You've had a chance to really make a statement and really carve out your place. So what is coming up on the horizon that you're really excited about, and how do you plan to grow from here? Both of you, how do you plan to grow?
So initially for me, I'll say I'm excited to get Death Wish out and continue to work on solo music. I think this fall I'll probably go into the studio. I'm gonna record my first EP. First time I've said that publicly, so
exclusive.
You heard it here first.
So that's my plan. And of course, I'll likely be going back and forth from the UK and the US. The fans over in the UK have been absolutely lovely, and I want to thank Bronnie again for having me on those shows and introducing me to so many people that have welcomed me with open arms to such a great community. So that's been great. More shows, more songs. more collabs, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. So I'm currently, I released a single called Friend Zone, and that made it to BBC Radio 1, which was a massive milestone. So that was probably the first song off a new EP, like, you know, said it here first, so it could be releasing an EP. And doing more shows. I don't, my manager's going to shout at me if I give too much away, but, you know, a lot of recording, for sure. Yeah.
And meanwhile, also working on the Bronnie show, which we also need to acknowledge that you yourself are a radio podcast host, right? And obviously, you know, you're doing such a great job here tonight that, you know, it's it's pretty clear that you've done this before. It's not your first rodeo, but I want to talk about the Bronnie show as well. And you've had a chance to have some high profile guests on and make connections that way.
Yeah, so there's this radio station called KCC Live. So it's like a big Liverpool radio station. And they basically said, you know, Bronnie, every interview we do with you, you just have a radio talking voice. So do you want your own show? I was like, yes. Anyway, it's awesome. I get to play the music I want to play. It's just a rock show. And sometimes I do themes like, you know, the best pop punk bands from Canada or, you know, the UK or Europe or America. I just have such a fun time. And I've had some really cool guests on the show. Connor Ball from the Vamps. So yeah, the Vamps are a big band in the UK. So many people. Sky Sweetnam from Sumo Psycho. So back in the day, she supported Britney Spears on tour. And I didn't realize at the time she supported Britney Spears in Manchester when I went, and I was about 7 years old. So I didn't know at the time, but I saw her live when I was 7. It's great. I meet so many awesome people, and yeah, it's just a great time. I love, you know, playing music and talking about it.
And I'm sure it gives you a different perspective being on the other side, like being the interviewer and learning about their stories. How does that inform your journey?
Oh, it's great. I think especially when I walk into interviews, you know, the time it takes to edit podcasts, you know, research artists, write down all the questions, like the amount of time, you know, taken into all those things is just insane. So I've definitely put that into perspective, you know, especially like sitting here. I'm like, you must have, you know, you've done your research, obviously. You got all your questions and all that. So the amount of time, you know, is a lot of effort. So I definitely realized that. And just being better with, you know, I don't know, questions, because before I did my radio show, I was the worst person to interview. I would always be like, it was so bad. So it's definitely given me some media training for sure.
Yeah, which is valuable for the road ahead.
Yes,
for sure. So I want to ask you both, because you've obviously at this point you've had a chance to do a lot. You know, even at this point in your careers, you know, you've had a lot of success. Surely you've learned a lot of lessons as well that you can impart upon other artists, you know, who are trying to pave their way. So if there's one lesson, and whoever wants to go first, if there's one lesson that from your journey to this point that you would impart upon an independent artist just getting their start, what would that be?
I think a good one for me is take it day by day. You cannot think a week ahead in this industry, because everything changes, and you should think a week ahead, but you can't think that that's set in stone. And today might be the most epic failure of a day you've ever had, but tomorrow could be the best day you have ever experienced and could take you to completely the next level. And you really just have to focus on those small wins. It's day by day and it's small wins, because really, you'll learn very quickly. Those small wins feel really great when you've had 25 losses in a row.
Oh, yeah. And when you get to look back on a nice little streak of them, a nice little trail of them,
yes,
even better. You know, and I think to your point, too, yeah, it helps to plan ahead, but it helps to be flexible in that plan, because you don't know what opportunity is going to come up. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's just going to pop up and blow things out of the water, you know,
100%.
Hopefully in a good way.
Yeah.
You know?
Or maybe in a bad way. You never know either. Yeah, it goes either way.
You just never know. So you have to be prepared, and you have to be willing to I mean, the word of the past couple of years during the pandemic, especially, is pivot. None of us expected to go like fully into lockdown when 2020 started. Happy New Year. And then by March, we're all in lockdown. So what do? Everyone's going online now. You know, like everybody had to adjust. I think industry-wide, no matter where you were, whether you're here in Nashville, over in Liverpool, where you just have to be willing to adjust and just be prepared for what comes your way. But also, you have to be prepared to do the work to open yourself to those opportunities.
100%.
Put in the effort, yeah. I'd say another big thing is stop comparing yourself to other people. I feel like every artist compares themselves to, you know, other artists, their journeys. Like, you are on your own journey. And you are your own person for a reason, you know? You're the best person to, I mean, wait, what's the quote? You're the best?
You're the best person to be you. I don't know if that's it.
I don't know. Is that a quote? I don't know.
Everyone else is taken.
Yes, that for sure. It's just so true. Like I said before, everyone has their own journeys. And believe in what you're writing about, for sure. You know, people can see past the bullshit, I guess. And just enjoy it. That's like the main thing, because if you're not having fun, don't do it. There's literally no point. Yeah, I'd say that. The biggest thing has got to be stop comparing yourself, because, you know, there's been times where, you know, you look at, I don't know, groups of bands who go on tour with each other. One band will blow up, and for another band, they might be a bit down about that. Like, why isn't that my shot? But, you know, if they keep cheering them on, have that positive mental attitude, then, you know, I feel like everything will work out in the end, for sure.
Yeah.
I think comparison also gets in the way in the fact that, like, if you're an artist just starting out and you see another artist, like, you don't want to emulate them. You want to, like, you can be influenced and inspired by their work, but you don't want to try to emulate it, because it's already been done.
It's already been done, for sure.
I think we saw that with the boy band trend of the 90s, where, like, you had the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC at the top, and then, like, you know, as they kept coming out with boy bands out of Orlando, like, diminishing returns.
It kind of starts to look like a tier list eventually.
Yeah. Like, I actually worked out the tiers. It's the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and, like, depending which one you rode with back in the day, that would be your number one, right? But they were both at the top. Then you had 98 Degrees, then you had LFO, then you had O-Town, then you had the rest. And who remembers the rest? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And I'm not knocking anybody, but it's like, after a while, like, the formula is gonna run dry, you know? And I think the artists that really find that sweet spot of, oh, I'm inspired by this, but I'm not trying to copy this trend, those are the ones who break through, because it's like you improve on the. There was a line in a Lupe Fiasco song, Superstar. Did you improve on the design? Did you do something new? Or did you just come out and try to be somebody else? Because if you try to be somebody else, you know, if somebody's coming out here trying to be Taylor Swift, which a lot of people have come to Nashville to try to do, there's already a Taylor Swift, and she's really good at being Taylor Swift. You might as well be whoever you are.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You will automatically get compared to Taylor Swift, and, you know, you don't want to compare yourself to anyone else. You want your own journey. Yeah. I think it's just be your own authentic self. You can take inspiration. Hell yeah, we all do. But yeah, just do.
Yeah,
you do you.
As an early artist, I think everyone falls into the trap a little bit. It's so easy because you haven't had time to figure out who you are as an artist yet. And really, for the first time, I think in a long time, there is a true market for being you. And that goes with everything. People want to see people be themselves now. And there's a great way to share that.
Yeah.
You can share it online. You can share it through your music. And it's just be confident in yourself. Be confident in what you do. And just try to sit down and learn what you love and why you love it, because that's going to help you in the long run.
And own all parts of yourself too. Even the ones that aren't necessarily curated for perfection, as it were. You know, we're in this increasing age of vulnerability where it's more acceptable now, which for men growing up, it never was for us, you know, but I think just across the board, like, there's a lot more understanding about the things we go through as human beings. Yes. Connecting that to your audience is super powerful. Connecting not only what you're experiencing on a personal level, but the causes you believe in, you know, like building community around that and around your values, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
It's not like, I think the age of the mysterious superstar, you know, because of all this transparency and all these ways that we can connect with each other as people in real time, like, that's breaking down, you know, which, I mean, yeah, it was cool to have the rock star persona thing, you know, back in the day, like in the age of David Bowie, where, like, you never really knew, like, what he was
gonna,
the shock and awe. And there's something to be said for the artistry, but, like, even a modern day example of someone who's really created this persona, like Lady Gaga, like, you still have a connection with who she is as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's like, she could be whatever persona she wants, but you know who's behind it. And she's always 100%. Done such a great job of
She really has. That's a great shout. And yeah, I mean, we all have feelings. No matter who you are, we are human, and there's really no way to hide that anymore. And if you do, like you said, you just don't connect, and it's tough.
Or if you try to hide it, it comes out in other ways, and those ways usually are not constructive.
Yes.
So you best just just lay it all out there in a way that's not gonna send people running for the hills. At least ease into it, but be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
This has been fantastic, y'all. Before I do the sign-off stuff, I want to give y'all each a chance to tell people where they can learn more about you, where they can support you online. Of course, Death Wish is out today. Today, I'm looking into the camera and telling you to go listen to it, watch a music video today. Whoever wants to go first, where can we find you?
So you guys can follow me on, Instagram, TikTok, all the apps. It's Bronnie Music, Bronnie Music, and stream my music on Spotify. You can stream Death Wish today. Just type in Bronnie, Mason Levi, Death Wish, and the video is on YouTube on Bronnie Vivo. So just type in Bronnie, Mason Levi, Death Wish. Yeah,
and for me, again, all the apps. My handle is I am Mason Levi, IAMMASONLEVI, if you want to check that out. And my Spotify is Mason Levi. And you can find Death Wish either on my Spotify or Bronnie's Spotify. It will be on both. So check that out. And thank you guys for giving us a listen.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us on the show.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Thanks for coming. You're welcome. Anytime you're back in Nashville, give me a call. We'll do this again.
Hell
We
yeah.
absolutely have to.
Absolutely. We got to do a follow-up. We
Yes.
I'm excited to see, like, in a year or 2 years, like, how much further you've come. Because you've already come so far, and it's really exciting to watch that. And just, I'm excited for y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
See what the future.
See you next year then.
Yeah, well, I'll be here. You know where to find. Next year's actually our 10-year anniversary.
Oh,
we
I
need to
love
go
it.
on the 10-year
Yes.
anniversary. Come on now.
I'm planning on, and this might be new information, and it's on the show now. Whatever, I'm talking about it, so whatever. It's secrets out. We're planning on doing something pretty big here, and then also I'm planning on going home to the Northeast, and we're gonna do a return to the basement episode, because when we first started the show, we were literally recording. We called it Mom's Basement Studios because we were literally recording in the basement of my parents' house.
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
So we're going to go back. The same table's still there. My dad finally put all the soundproof insulation we bought for it before I moved to Pennsylvania. So it's going to sound great. And we're going to go back. We're going to record an episode there. Me and whoever of the co-hosts who join us occasionally on Zoom. Still to this day, we're just going to get down there and do a show just like the old days.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And then we're going to find a way to get everyone down here, right in this room, and do something special right at around the 10-year anniversary. So,
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
so this being the first show we've done here on the stage is a sign of things to come for the 10-year anniversary year. So
Yeah, I'm on it.
we're all on our way up, aren't we? Here,
We are.
Oh, yes.
And you know what? We're going to keep going.
The only way is up.
exactly. Only way is up, and the only way to listen to the Quinn Spinn is many ways, like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. You can also learn more about the show. And of course, it's 2 N's in Quinn, 2 N's in Spin on Instagram primarily, as well as at undergroundmusiccollective.com, our central hub for all things independent music, community, creativity, collaboration, and whatever other words I want to throw in there. UMC is also on all the socials as well: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can follow the UMC 20 playlist on Spotify, which next week, Death Wish will be on. So make sure you check that out,
legend.
along with 19 other artists and this episode of the Quinn Spinn, because I put it at the end as a bonus track. NashLive.live has your hookup for shows. I need to announce more shows. We do have them on the books. It's just been super busy. Things have been crazy. I haven't announced a show in a good while, but we've got some for September, some other things cooking up for summer/fall. So keep an eye on that. And Revel 9's All I've Become is going to take us out just like it let us in. And I will see you next time. Hey now.